Thursday, May 14th, 2026, and this is the Neural Right. I'm Will Sterling, and I'm just here trying to find 1 ounce of reality in this simulation.
This is Ashley Thorne.
Ray the Hammer Miller here.
And I'm Josh Cohen. We have a great show for you today.
I mean, okay, gang, yesterday was wild. We were talking about that car in Illinois getting a ticket in NYC, and the DOJ actually doing something about the Baltimore Bridge. But today, the ruling class is finally being told to check their pockets.
It's about time. We're looking at a $1.3 billion, yes, billion with a B, deferral of Medicaid funds to California. Plus, the CIA is apparently playing keep away with the JFK files again.
And Billy Bob Thornton actually grew a backbone, which has the ladies on The View clutching their pearls. It's a busy one. Let's get into it.
Let's start with fiscal sanity, or the lack thereof. Vice President J.D. Vance basically just dropped a tactical nuke on the California budget. He announced yesterday that the federal government is deferring $1.3 billion in Medicaid reimbursements because, shocker, the state isn't auditing for fraud.
Oh, wait. You're telling me they're just handing out billions on an honor system? Really? Think about it. $1.3 billion just poof? Gone into the void?
It's worse than that. The Task Force to Eliminate Fraud, Vance's new pet project, found $200 million in questionable expenditures specifically linked to immigration-related costs within the Medicaid system.
Excuse me? So the taxpayers in, say, Ohio or Florida are subsidizing the honor system for non-citizens in California? Life is hard. Get a helmet, California. You don't get a blank check to run a social experiment on our dime.
They don't want you to know this, but it's a slush fund. Listen to me. It's a giant sucking chest wound in the Treasury. Vance is finally putting a tourniquet on it.
CMS Administrator Dr. Mehmet Oz was right there with them. They're looking at $630 million in unexplained billing red flags. We're talking about ghost clinics and zombie patients that only exist on a spreadsheet to collect federal money.
And the media will tell you this is cruel. They'll say Vance is starving children. But he's actually saying, hey, stop letting the cartel-adjacent billing companies fleece us so the actual poor people can get care. Why are they doing this, Josh? Why is the bureaucracy so obsessed with protecting the scammers?
Because complexity is a feature, Will, not a bug. If the system is too complicated to audit, you can hide anything. My wife, who is a doctor, spends half her life doing paperwork to prove she actually saw a patient. But California just sends a bill for $1.3 billion and says, trust us? Hypothetically, if I did that with my taxes, I'd be in a federal jumpsuit by Tuesday.
It's the victimhood industrial complex. They framed accountability as oppression. But Vance doesn't care about your feelings. He's looking at the ledger.
It's the globalist kickback. I have the white papers. They use the Medicaid overflow to fund the transition to the New World Order infrastructure. It's all right there in the CMS audit trails.
Whatever it is, it's about time someone asked, where is the money? Because they hate you, and they think you're too stupid to notice $1 billion missing.
Speaking of things missing, let's talk about the CIA. They're at it again. Representative Anna Paulina Luna has given the CIA a 24-hour ultimatum. Return the JFK and MKUltra files or face the wrath of a subpoena.
Ray, let's look at the facts. DNI Tulsi Gabbard had these files. She was preparing them for declassification under Trump's executive order. And then, allegedly, CIA agents seized them back.
They raided the office. They took 40 boxes. It's a coup inside the intelligence community. They are hiding the truth about the mind control programs because they're still using them.
Let's be real. The CIA taking back files from the DNI is like the dog eating your homework. But the dog is also a government agency with a black budget. Why are they so terrified of files from the 60s?
That's the thing. It's 2026. If there's nothing in there but some dusty old memos about Lee Harvey Oswald, why risk a constitutional crisis with Tulsi Gabbard? What is going on here?
It's a jurisdictional battle. The ODNI says they have the authority to declassify. The CIA says national security interests. But James Erdman III, a 20-year CIA veteran, just blew the whistle in front of Rand Paul. He says these files aren't just history. They contain operational blueprints that are still being referenced.
Ha! MKUltra never ended. It just rebranded as social media algorithms. They don't want you to see the original code.
Literally. Luna's ultimatum expires today, May 14th. If Director Ratcliffe doesn't hand them over, Josh, what actually happens? Contempt of Congress? Does that even mean anything anymore?
In this administration, yes. We're not in the sternly worded letter anymore. If they hold them in contempt, they can actually start cutting the CIA's specific line item funding for these archival programs. Facts don't care about your classified stamps if the checkbook is empty.
I love it. I want to see the footage of the agents being told they don't get their lattes because they're hiding MKUltra. All right, let's talk about the streets. In Cambridge, Massachusetts, we had a guy, Tyler Brown, fire 60 rounds, 60, at random drivers on Memorial Drive. And you want to know the kicker?
Let me guess. He was a model citizen with no prior history?
Not even close. In 2020, he fired 13 rounds at cops while on probation for a stabbing. The DA wanted 10 to 12 years, but Judge Janet Sanders, who's now retired and doesn't remember the case, gave him 5 to 6. He was out in 3.5 years.
It's the revolving door doctrine. He was released in May 2025. Less than a year later, he's spraying Memorial Drive with a rifle. This is a systemic failure of the judiciary.
Why do they do this? I mean, really? Why is a guy who stabs people and shoots at cops back on the street in 40 months? It's because the ruling class doesn't live in the neighborhoods where Tyler Brown goes to work. They're safe behind their gates, while you're dodging 60 rounds on your way to buy milk.
They want the chaos. Listen to me. If the streets are safe, you don't need the surveillance state. They let the predators out to justify the cage for the rest of us.
And when 25 investigates went to the judge's house, she wouldn't even open the door. I have no memory of this case. How do you forget a guy who shot at police officers? Here's the reality. They don't care about the victims. They only care about their progressive sentencing stats.
And then you look at what's happening in Loudoun County, Virginia, the ultimate consequence of this tolerance over safety mindset. A transgender student at Freedom High School secretly recorded 40 male students in the bathroom over 3 years. And the school knew?
For 3 years? And they didn't tell the parents because of stigma? Think about it. Your son is being recorded in a private space, and the administration's priority is the privacy of the person doing the recording? What is going on here?
It's demonic. It's a war on the most basic levels of human dignity. They are sacrificing your children on the altar of their insane ideology.
Christina, a mother at the school, said it best. The school is protecting the wrong party. This is what happens when you let activists run the school board. Common sense is out the window, and gender-neutral facilities become a playground for predators.
Facts don't care about your gender-neutral branding. If you create a space where there is no oversight and no biological boundaries, you get 40 victims and a 3-year cover-up. Okay, gang, let's talk about the billionaire tax that isn't really a billionaire tax. Mayor Zoran Mamdani in NYC just dropped a $124 billion budget. It includes a pied-à-terre tax for anyone with a second home over $5 million.
And Ken Griffin, the Citadel guy, basically told him to shove it. Griffin already moved to Miami, and now he's saying he's doubling down on Florida because the mayor is creepy and a threat to safety.
I mean, Griffin isn't wrong. Mamdani was doing social media stunts outside his penthouse. Is this a mayor or a YouTuber?
Ooh, he's a Bolshevik with a smartphone. He's trying to tax the people who already left. You can't tax a ghost, Zoran. $47 billion in taxable income has already fled to Florida.
Exactly. Between 2020 and 2024, 900 companies left New York. My wife, who is a doctor, sees this in the medical field too. The high-end specialists are all setting up shop in Austin and Palm Beach. You can't run a $124 billion city on vibe shifts and taxes for people who don't live there anymore.
But the activists love it. They think they're sticking it to the man, while the city budget is literally cratering because they're spending it all on asylum seeker services that the comptroller says are fiscally unsustainable.
It's the death of common sense. They're chasing away the people who pay the bills to cater to the people who break the law.
Speaking of common sense, did you guys see Billy Bob Thornton? He was on Howie Mandel's podcast and basically told Hollywood to shut up and act. But of course, the coven over at The View had a meltdown. Sonny Hostin said silence is complicity. No, Sonny, silence is I have a job to do and I'm not an expert on the tax code.
It's the Thornton Threshold. People are exhausted. According to the recent trends in media consumption, people are selecting purpose-driven content, which means they want to be entertained, not lectured by a guy who hasn't been in a grocery store since 1998.
The celebrities are the high priests of the vampire culture. They use their platform to signal boost the globalist agenda. Billy Bob is a heretic.
It's so simple. People want to watch a movie and forget about their mortgage for 2 hours. They don't want the guy playing a cowboy to tell them why they need to pay a 5% NATO tax.
Which leads us to the Bucharest 9 summit. NATO is now pushing for a 5% GDP spending mandate by 2035. They're finally realizing the Atlas era is over. The U.S. isn't carrying the whole world on its shoulders anymore.
5%? They better spend it on their own borders. We're over here focused on Operation Epic Fury and Iran. And Europe is still trying to figure out if they should buy a tank or another bike path.
Realism is back. We have a leaner, high-tech defense focus now. And if the Allies want a Golden Dome missile defense architecture like the CBO is proposing, they're going to have to write the check.
Which is common sense. American taxpayers shouldn't be the global security guard while our own infrastructure is falling apart.
Okay, I want to talk about something that actually gives me hope. Georgia just signed the Eliza Jane Warner Act. They're expanding safe haven baby boxes to fire stations and hospitals.
This is so important. They expanded the surrender window to 45 days. It gives mothers in crisis a 100% anonymous, safe, and legal alternative to abandonment. No shame, no victimhood, just a life saved.
Maine just opened their first one, too. It's a rare moment of bipartisan sanity. Protecting the most vulnerable shouldn't be a political football.
And look at the Prime Act and the new Farm Bill. They're finally trying to let local ranchers process their own meat and sell it to their neighbors without a federal bureaucrat breathing down their necks. Why was that ever illegal? Think about it.
Because the big meat globalists want to control the food supply. If you can buy a steak from the guy down the road, you don't need the mega corporations. The Prime Act is a blow to the food control system.
It's the small wins, Ray. It's the get the government out of my kitchen and my nursery movement.
All right, we have to talk about the main event, the Save America Act. It's currently stuck in a Senate filibuster, and this is the hill the 2026 midterms are going to be fought on.
Wait, remind me, what is so controversial about the Safeguard American Voter Eligibility Act? It just asks for a birth certificate or passport to register to vote? That's it?
That's the core of it. Documentary Proof of Citizenship, DPOC. It also mandates that states purge non-citizens from their rolls by using DHS databases. And it effectively ends online voter registration because you have to physically show your documents.
And the Democrats are losing their minds. Jamie Raskin is calling it anti-voter? Excuse me? Since when is proving you're a citizen anti-voter?
It's the great replacement of the ballot box. They have millions of people crossing the border. They're giving them Medicaid on the honor system, and now they want them to vote on the honor system. Listen to me. One non-citizen vote is a theft of a citizen's voice.
According to the polling, 83% of Americans support photo ID for voting. 83%! This isn't a radical right-wing thing. It's a literally everyone with a brain thing. Why is the Senate filibustering this?
Because the administrative hurdle argument is all they have. They claim married women will have a hard time because of name changes on their birth certificates. But as my wife, who is a doctor, will tell you, you have to reconcile those documents for a medical license, for a passport, for a mortgage. Why is the most sacred part of our republic, the vote, the only thing that doesn't require a paper trail?
Because they benefit from the chaos. If the voter rolls are messy, you can't audit them. It's the same thing as the Medicaid fraud in California. Complexity hides the con.
I have the white papers on the authenticity crisis. Generative AI is going to make it impossible to know who is who. We need physical, documentary proof of citizenship now, or the 2026 midterms will be decided by a server farm in Switzerland.
Switzerland? Ray, always bringing the spice. But seriously, Josh, is this bill gonna pass, or is it just a messaging win for the GOP?
It depends on the pressure. The House has passed it multiple times. Rep. Marionette Miller Meeks is pushing Senator Thune to stop the games. If the GOP can't pass a Don't Let Non-Citizens Vote bill when they have 83% public support, then what are they even doing in Washington?
They're being useless, as usual. But the movement is building. People are tired of being told that asking for an ID is racist, while they're being asked for an ID to buy a pack of Sudafed.
It's the frame! The ruling class wants you to think that basic security is a threat to democracy. But the real threat is a system that no one trusts. If you can't prove who voted, you don't have a country. Literally. That does it for today. From billion-dollar fraud in California to the honor system at the ballot box, the theme of 2026 is clear. The adults are finally trying to audit the asylum.
Stay fired up.
Watch the skies.
Facts over feelings, folks. They hate you, but we're here to make sure you have the truth.